Citations, Legion of Doom, welcome to podcast, more social awkward outcasts, crazy weirdos, and all around nerds convene, talk, and debate all things pop culture. With me, as always, is my host, the nerdy occultist, aka the Authenticator, Dalton L. Mortimer.
Hello, everyone.
And I'm your host, last time Lone Wannabe, the Brainstorm Pop Culture. How's everyone doing tonight?
I appear to be doing better than you from everything we were discussing backstage, which is weird.
To be fair, that's how it always works with us.
Yeah, I don't know who got it in their heads that we needed to be like karmically linked or some shit, but every time one of us has a really good day, the other one perforce has a really shitty day, and vice versa. And no, before you ask, I didn't do anything.
I've never asked Dalton to do spells, so I don't think he'd fuck one up. For a multitude of reasons, obviously. I'm not.
I am OCD when it comes to proper fucking spell work. Although, yeah, I swear I didn't do anything. If I did something, I probably wouldn't do something that stupid.
Right. Also, to be fair, I mean, I was going to say this, but obviously I don't want to offend a certain entity that Dalton has a connection with. So I refuse from it. But to be fair, this has been going on long before he made a pact. So
This is also true. It doesn't strike me as something that would benefit Mab in any way, and she doesn't really play around with emotional connections because she's the cold, rational, predatory queen as opposed to the emotional, touchy-feely bullshit queen.
So you dissing Titania?
I'm sorry, but there is a reason I went with the Winter Queen as opposed to Summer. I have no quarrel with Summer, and I never desire any quarrel with Summer, but my loyalties are to Winter, and thus it shall remain.
Right. But it has to be something out there. I don't know what or why, but something.
I've looked into our astrology before, and I can't find anything there either. It's weird.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of going to be a short podcast, simply because we were kind of
there was basically nothing this week,
and also it was kind of, I'm not gonna lie, our lives have been just kind of hectic and busy last week, so we've been kind of shirking on our podcast duties. So I apologize for that. But yeah, we're. I'm not gonna lie. Mostly, it is going to be a trailer week. So, first, I know Dalton doesn't want to cover this, but I have seen it. And he has seen it, and it's worth talking about because we had covered the trailers and we saw. It's fairly positive from what I remember us talking about it.
Yeah, it was okay. Unfortunately, the end result less so. In my opinion, anyway.
I mean, I can see the points you make because we briefly discussed this before, but so Predator Badlands, I like it. It's not bad. Obviously, I think it could have been done a little better. So I feel like it's missing kind of a grit to it. That makes sense?
Yeah. I think I know exactly how this could have been made to work infinitely better, but we will get there when we get there.
I will. Okay, let's start with positives. Deck, the main character, the main protagonist, is fairly good character, I'd say.
I wish we had spent more time on the Yautja homeworld, just because, seeing it from seeing more of their culture and more of their society would have been interesting. Although the intro card there, the quasi poetic predator code thing, I think that kind of nerfed their character potential because it was very basic, and it doesn't even necessarily fall in line with what else we've seen from the Predators over the course of the franchise.
Yeah, there was a female Predator, like someone who was blooded into a clan
Mm-hmm.
in the comics. Yes, there are comics. Can't remember her name, but I don't disagree. Oh, hey, Giant Turtle. Okay, yeah, that's fine, man. He's still at work for like another 2 or so hours.
Mm. Well, it'll be here when you have leisure to catch up, ET.
Yeah. So no, you're good, man. You don't need to say sorry about not being here. You're good.
Mm-hmm. Just come back on the rewatch when you get a chance.
Yeah.
Because all the episodes from even before you showed up are still on the channel in the live section because of the stupid way that YouTube decided to break up content and shit. Anyway.
Okay, I will. Trying to get my thoughts here together. I do think. Okay, another thing I really like. Visually, it's not too bad. I do think it's a bit basic, but
Mm-hmm.
serviceable. I also really like the music. That was the thing that stood out to me the most in like this movie.
I didn't really have a preference either way with the music. It was just sort of there. Nothing about it really stood out to me.
When the fuck do you ever care? When I'm sorry, like I'm not trying to. I'm just more pointing this out. Like when do you ever take care to know music in a movie?
When it's actually good and memorable, like a theme is supposed to be.
I disagree about it not being memorable. It's just like every time I brought up music in a movie, you always say you never really. So I'm just like, I'm seeing kind of a connective pattern there. Is all.
Well, because unfortunately, a lot of movies now don't use their music as part of the atmosphere or part of the like method of storytelling.
I don't disagree, but I also don't think Predator Badlands does that. I think it actually works pretty well, in terms of atmosphere and setting a tone. Again, I okay. I wish we went a little longer with positives, but I do think you and I both agree that there are some flaws with this movie.
Understatement of several centuries there, but go ahead.
I think. Nothing. Okay. The tone is a bit inconsistent. That's what I can say. It feels like it is trying to be like kind of a buddy comedy, obviously with Deck and can't remember the synth's name. But
Yeah, I don't remember her name either. I remember her sister's name is Tessa, but I don't remember her name.
Anya? No. Whatever. I felt like that wasn't really necessary. And I think you kind of you mentioned this, like that character kind of bogged down a bit.
And there's so much focus pulled by her and her sister's storyline that it almost makes Deck seem like a side character in his own movie, or what should ostensibly be his own movie. It could be worse. I'm not saying it's the worst thing in the universe, but it does really feel like
Tacked
the
on.
creator had a story about android sisters and threw the Predator in there because.
The weird thing is, this is the guy who also did Prey and Killer Killers, which I really liked.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things that could improve this movie. Now, mind you, this would be a hard sell for Hollywood because it would require a lot of effort on the audience part to follow what's going on. But if there was no android there, if it were just Deck and the miniature and the baby Kalesk and the mother Kalesk, and we actually let the quiet stand without translating things, and let the acting speak for itself, and let the atmosphere speak for itself, I think this could have been a much better movie.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Or better yet, given that we see the relationship between Deck and his brother, whose name I can't remember offhand.
I saw that movie like 2 weeks ago, so my memory's not as fresh either.
Yeah, but given that both Deck and his brother have a falling out with their father, who is the chieftain, why couldn't they have both escaped? And then instead of Deck and nameless HR android there, or you know what I mean. Instead of having Deck pick up this android for reasons, it could have been a brotherly connection, and then we could have further explored the nuances of Yautja culture in the doing of it.
All right. I don't disagree. Okay, maybe it's just me. I think it's fine killing the brother, but in my head, the idea was
I'm not opposed to him dying either. I'm just saying that if you wanted this to be a buddy movie, I think it would have been more impactful, not to mention a lot more organic, if it was the two brothers.
No, okay, that's fair. I'm not.
Then
I'm not
if
disagreeing
it's
with
Deck and random android girl.
I know. I'm pitching the idea I had when I watched it and was thinking about it. Right. So kill him, right, and steal the quest to prove himself by killing the unkillable creature, right?
Mm-hmm.
And removing the android, right? It's basically effectively a silent movie for most of it while he's on.
Yeah, that was my first idea too. Is just let the silence speak for itself and the body language and shit speak for itself.
Yeah. I mean, they did with Mandalorian for first season or first couple.
Yeah, I noticed that they basically had Deck develop another sibling-like dynamic with the androids. So, given that they were insisting on there being this quasi-sibling dynamic with the androids, it might have made more sense if both brothers just fled to Danger Planet and then had the sort of brotherly buddy thing going on.
I mean, I still would want to keep the androids somewhat be the antagonist, but have them be more. Since we're following the story of Deck, which is very silent, very stuff, we don't really get scenes. Make them more. How to put it?
Robotic.
Other, because it's not Deck's priority or care that they're there. He has his own thing going on.
Mm-hmm. I know universal translators are a standard MacGuffin in sci-fi a lot of the time, but I wasn't under the impression that Weyland Yutani was that advanced.
Well,
And
it depends on the year this movie took place in universe, right? Because
well, yeah, but apart from the Xenomorphs and the Yautja, are there really that many alien species in the Predator universe that they can have even a need to develop a universal translator?
There are some others. Granted, they don't seem as
common,
intelligent.
Yeah. So that I was confused by that. I'm not saying they can't have it. I'm just saying one.
It's shown that Yautja can learn human language or speech.
Yeah.
But the idea I had was, still killing to keep the opening, because that is actually a really great opening, I think, at least.
Yeah.
Then you're following Deck. Honestly, I like the idea that he finds corpses of other Yautja that went on the same quest, because it's supposed to be
because this is supposed to be their like boogeyman. It's supposed to be their apex predator.
Yeah. And maybe takes their gear after he loses his. Maybe it's broken, but he refits it, rebuilds it, whatever.
Right.
So he's carrying on, along with carrying on this goal to kind of honor his brother's sacrifice, but also carrying on the losses of all these other Yautja that have given themselves to the hunt in order to kind of carry their legacy. And since he was considered the runt, the weakling of his tribe, I think that effectively it's kind of the ghost of the Yautja that went there and died, that he gets all this gear from, and
right.
In a way, it's kind of he becomes kind of a symbolic tribe of all those lost Yautja.
Yeah, the coming of age story.
Not gonna lie, I would also like it. Okay, this is just me being filmy, right? Because I haven't done that in a long time. I kind of would like it to be darker in like lighting and style and stuff. Like, kind of, okay, you're gonna look at me weird.
The shadows need to pop more.
A little more high contrast, but something similar. Again, you're gonna look at me weird, but something similar to The Revenant.
It's been a very long time since I watched that.
It was very dark, very cold, very oppressive in its
desolate.
Style. Yes.
To emphasize the predatory nature of the planet. Death Planet.
Yeah. And I'm uncertain, because I like the idea that he gets. I think they called it Buck, the baby Kalisk. That he still takes it and kind of raises it a bit, like he finds it, right?
Right.
After an encounter, and it kind of becomes like his pet.
Yeah. Guard dog.
Yeah.
So that way, when he goes home to reclaim his manhood and everything, not only did he kill a Kalisk, but he managed to domesticate one.
Right. That part
I'm as a weapon.
Yeah, that part I'm still unsure of, about him either killing the Kalisk or something, but like I'm fine with either option. It's just like I do more.
It makes more sense than, and this goes back to my problem with the android MacGuffin. They sent him to that death world to kill the Kalisk, and he returns with just an android head. We as the audience know the significance of that, but how in the fuck are the other Yautja supposed to know anything about the significance of that?
The thing is, like, I was thinking about this, right? Given his bond and connection with the baby Kalisk, that becomes like his kind of pet, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Trained guard dog eventually.
Right. I don't know if he would kill the adult, the mother Kalisk, seeming as he's found that bond.
Unless he doesn't find out about the connection until it's already dead.
Could also be that, if we wanted to add it, that it could have been abandoned, like Deck. Hence why he takes
the runt of the litter.
Yeah.
The two runts of the litter that rise to be better than
Well,
either
and
would
I
be
was
by
also thinking this,
themselves.
like when he returns instead of a Callus skull, he returns with a pet Callus, because I think it somewhat in
It's even more of an alpha move to not only kill the like adult Callisk, but also to have
domestic.
tamed and drawn into service the beast that slayed, countless Yautja. Which would also be interesting from the perspective of a runt using skill and intelligence rather than physical force, which would be a nice way of giving him a way to become a man, quote unquote, without pulling the like pathetic fallacy of, well, he gets stronger because of this trial. No. He still is physically not imposing compared to the rest of the Yautja, but because he learns how to use those weaknesses to his advantage rather than to his detriment, he then can take a position. He then can take a position higher than any of them. That would make sense.
I also like the idea that we see all these other like designs of the helmets for like modern day Yautja,
Mm,
and like just as a bit of fan service on my end, mind you,
mm,
that one that he finds another helmet because he lost his on Yautja Prime, right?
right.
He finds the mask of like the design similar to the original Yautja from like the original movie,
Mm-hmm.
with like other like in the weapons and the tech and stuff could be like references to all the other like Yautja in the other movies, like
Yeah. You might even find a Yautja like laying next to a xenomorph corpse as a nice reference to AVP.
yeah. Do you think he still kills his father though?
Yes, I think especially if we're keeping the brother's death, the only thing that would satisfy honor for that would be if he kills his father.
And okay, challenge him to a one-on-one, or still have the cronies sent first that he kills and then kills his father.
I think one-on-one makes more sense.
Well, to be fair, his father doesn't respect him as because he's a runt,
A combatant.
Yeah,
Which
he doesn't even.
I mean, that can work to Deck's favor because if his father can bring guards, then he can bring baby Callisk. So that does work. And again, it'd be a nice thing of, oh, this person, this runt that we had all written off managed to not only slay a mature Callisk, which I do think he should bring the mother's skull or whatever he needs to bring to prove that. But in addition, also the newly domesticated guard dog Callisk.
I think also like the other like animals that tried to kill him, and even like the plants and stuff that.
Yeah, he can pick up bits and pieces of every trial that he ends up facing, and maybe that's what evens the playing field between him and his father. Because again, it'd be because the temptation which this movie does kind of fall into is to take this runt so that he's not in a direction so he's not a runt anymore. I think it's more impactful though to almost pull like a Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon with him and have him not stop being a runt, but to have him use skill and technique and knowledge rather than physical strength to overcome. Especially if we are keeping that he does learn to be more empathic by way of baby Callus creature. If he learns that friendship or camaraderie between creatures can be a strength in and of itself, that would explain why many of the Callisks, or rather many of the Yautja that we see in other movies, have a more stringent sense of honor. Because if we have this be like an ancient, if we have this be like an ancient Yautja, then Deck can be the first of the new, more honor-bound, more like traditional warrior culture Yautja, as opposed to the friend to none alpha male dickheadery variety of Yautja that we see here.
Which also, the text of their Hunter's Codex, I can't remember the exact phrasing of it, but well, we could change that and then show the, yeah, like you said, like if this was a prequel, effectively.
Yeah. So that Deck could be the first in a new type of Yautja that better exemplifies the warrior culture that we've already seen. Because that's one of my biggest problems with this movie, is the alleged warrior code of the Yautja we see here flies in almost direct contradiction to everything else we've seen from the lore of the Predators at this point. And this would be a good way of fixing that without creating a continuity error.
It's like Star Wars: The Old Republic kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Like anything else for Predator Badlands? Or
Not that I can think of. No.
okay, give me a sec.
I think you enjoyed this a lot better than I did. It's the thing.
To be fair, I do really like the Predators, like the Predator franchise. So
I like some of it. It's not really it's not really a franchise I put a lot of stock in. I did like the Predator movie from a couple of years ago with the autistic kid that a lot of people for some reason don't like.
I think it's just again like the tone of it didn't really work.
Yeah, it is. They do need to work on reestablishing what made the Predator franchise interesting.
Okay, so I also want to point out I like a movie that is kind of become a cult classic more so now, but wasn't really liked much when it came out, like in 2010. Predators.
Mm.
I really like that movie. I don't know. Maybe that's because it might have been the first Predator movie I'd seen.
I don't think I've seen that one. I don't think.
It was made by yes, so I am fairly confident why it's good.
Mm. Anyway, next.
Yeah, give me a sec. Okay, so it took a minute there. I don't know why. So we are going to be talking briefly about Dalton's favorite franchise ever.
Your abrasive sarcasm is noted, and fuck you.
So this is a trailer for Avatar: Fire and the Ash. It came out like a couple days ago, so we would cover it. So we've been covering it so far.
Does this mean we're gonna review Fire and Ash when it comes out?
I am gonna see it, so probably. Well, I mean, obviously, we'll wait until after December when we're in January. So
yeah, okay, fair enough.
Oh God, my head. Sorry, I'm a little tired.
Mm-hmm. But banana. I wish I knew enough about Pandora's fucking fauna to think of what their like root equivalent would be to a banana, but James Cameron is not interested in such things, so we know practically nothing about this franchise. I wonder if this will be a recurring theme or
I think
something.
there are books and comics that delve into a lot more answer questions.
Yeah, but the question is, you have 3+ hours per movie, James. Could you not have brought any of that extraneous lore into the material? I'm not saying you have to bring everything, but given how much essentially filler there is in all presumably 3 of these, soon to be 6, because for some reason this story of all stories James Cameron thinks needs 2 trilogies. But given how much dead air there was, especially in Way of Water, you couldn't have woven any of this lore in an organic way into the story that actually might have, padded out your world building a little bit here.
I will still say I think the best course of action for this series, especially after the movie, was to have a series set between the movies, like a TV series or something, maybe even animation.
Yeah, like a long form bit of storytelling would again give you more time to focus less on my visuals and my infinite money glitch and more on what makes Pandora or the Na'vi or the Avatar, the James Cameron Avatar setting, different or better or even just as engaging as any other sci-fi franchise. Anyway, banana.
Right.
Or blue nana, because Na'vis are blue. Blue nana.
Fire is the only pure thing in this world. There's something you're hiding. Tell her it is time.
This world goes much deeper than you imagine.
I really don't think so, James. I think you want desperately for that to be the case, but I don't think so, James.
I'm gonna be honest. I really would love, just because I'm planning on rewatching it. I kind of feel like Avatar started taking some major inspiration from Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance.
Yes, my God, that is precisely fucking what this franchise needs. And honestly, it would have been child's play to do it too, because you remember how in the first Aquaman movie there was that introductory montage about these are the 7 kingdoms of Atlantis, and here's kind of where they fit in the like socio-political space.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't there, like, 90% of the problem with well, I can't say that. Like 70% of the problem with the Way of Water could have been resolved by, in the first Avatar, or I guess I should say the first James Cameron Avatar, because I still maintain that when most people hear the title Avatar, they think of Aang and Company, but that's neither here nor there. You could have, if you wanted this to be this overarching, long game plot, James, done like what Aquaman did, or better yet, another analogy for this would be, remember the expository monologue that Galadriel gives at the beginning of Fellowship of the Ring? Do that, but for Pandora. And like 90% of everyone going, why are we wasting so much time establishing this tribe when it has almost no bearing on the plot or the development of the characters? If you had the foresight to add like an exposition monologue ahead of, or hell, better yet, I can do you one better. In the vein of having Galadriel deliver it in Fellowship of the Ring, you could have Quaritch give this narration as a military briefing to the soldiers that he's commanding. Done. Like, all the setup would be done, and we could actually focus on the characters and the plot and the actual world building. Because we would know, okay, this tribe does this tribe does that. Like you were saying, with Age of Resistance. We now know the Grotans, the Viola, I forget all the titles, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Also, that show should have gotten more seasons, honestly.
My fucking God, that show was great. It it's up there as one of the greatest things Netflix has
Like,
ever been connected to.
I'm gonna be fully honest. I never really got into Dark Crystal, like the movie, right?
No, it's another case where a lot of the most interesting stuff you'd have to find in the comics or the supplementary material. To her credit, though, Jim Henson's daughter, as a love letter to her father, made Age of Resistance with as much like attention to lore and detail and character as possible.
It's actually I'm sorry, like I don't mean to be rude, but it seems like Jim Henson's daughter got more of the idea of what he was doing than his son.
I mean, one of these people created Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, and the other one created the Happy Time Murders. I don't think that's a controversial statement.
The weirdest thing is, I think Happy Time Murders would have been cool if they actually played it straight. And I think we've had this discussion before.
Yeah, if they'd basically done puppet Roger Rabbit, almost.
Or like, what's it? What's that Jack Nicholson movie where he plays that cop?
That is a good question. I don't remember the name of that off the top of my head. I know the one you mean. I just can't. My brain
Chinatown.
refuses to brain.
Is it Chinatown?
It might be. That sounds right.
Either way, yeah. I think it just would have been like an interesting disposition when you have all these like you said, Roger Rabbit with puppets, but
and obviously you could go a little bit darker because we've like Roger Rabbit walked, so this hypothetical Happy Time Murders could run.
Yeah. To be fair, well, the weird thing is,
sorry, not to interrupt you, but another good analogy for this. Remember the Chip and Dale movie from a couple of years ago?
No.
There was a really interesting.
I choose not to.
There was a really interesting Chip and Dale movie from a couple of years ago that kind of did this same thing, and you could do something along those lines as well. As annoying as it is that we didn't actually get a solid follow-up to Rescue Rangers because Disney are a bunch of twats, the things that movie was doing on its own terms were at least interesting.
Right. But yeah, honestly, I think Avatar as a concept kind of would work better as more of a high-budget series, more so than a movie franchise.
Well, and the problem is, like we've alluded to, all the most interesting aspects of the lore, insofar as there is interesting aspects to the lore, is either over-explained to the point of like brain numbingness, like in the sea people in Way of Water, or just not alluded to at all, like most of the actual mechanics and the lore behind this.
Okay, so
he could resolve this by finally getting to the fucking point and telling the story he's supposed to be telling.
Hold on. I have an idea to pitch regarding this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's say we keep the movies, right? Relatively the same as they are, with some differences considered.
Mm-hmm.
We have an animated series. I don't know where you'd put it, maybe Fox or maybe not Fox because they cancel it after a season.
I mean, Netflix could do it.
Maybe FX, maybe.
Yeah.
But the idea I have is that it is set between like the first Avatar and Avatar: Way of Water, right? A few seasons, and it does follow Jake Scully's journey after the events, and because he knows that the humans are going to come back, right?
He's preparing for the inevitable return.
Thus is trying to rally other tribes across Pandora to basically create a giant coalition of all tribes.
And again, you could emphasize this with the like expository monologue or expository narration at the beginning of the pilot episode if we're keeping with the TV format.
The reason why I also say animation is because I think it would be cheaper than trying to blend with the CGI and the
right, and CGI animation has come a long enough way that I don't think it wouldn't look bad. I mean, Jimmy Neutron for the most part still holds up, and that was what 2006 that show came out.
Well, to be fair, that was a company that was actually trying to innovate and push the CGI animation.
Right,
Really.
but there's also like Code Lyoko that like computer animation can look good, and here's where my biases are going to come into play here.
I'm sorry. I'm going to point this out. Just a little tidbit here before you continue.
Mhm.
Code Lyoko as a story made no fucking sense.
True. The Aelita was human at one point twist came right the fuck out of nowhere and kind of nerfed it. I am of the opinion that it would have actually been more interesting if she actually was a digital person that needed to be devirtualized.
Well, it's just like, okay. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just
point be, and the thing I was getting at is computer animation would also have the benefit of stylization, which, my god, the fucking photorealistic naturalism of Avatar nerfed the shit out of it.
Well, I think 2009 did that better, mind you.
Yeah, because there was actually still some attempt to pay attention to aesthetics, whereas in Way of Water, it was just photorealistic naturalism turned up to an 11.
Right, but I think idea-wise for this is like, obviously, you can introduce characters that could appear later in movies, right?
Mm.
Like, there's no human presence minus like the people that are avatars that still have their human bodies.
With the exception of maybe Spider, because they were establishing the connection to Korra. And you could really do a really interesting, like, Cinder the Father coming into his own thing with Spider. If we actually got to see him grow up hearing horror stories of how awful Korra was,
yeah,
instead of just having it, and instead of having it shoved in our face in Way of Water with no setup.
We also get to see all the kids, growing up instead of seeing them be, like we get to get their. I feel like if, granted, it would be kind of homework to watch the series and then watch the movie when it comes out, right? I won't lie.
But it's not like modern people can't be persuaded to do that, especially when the material is good.
Can I finish my?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
But with Neteyam's death in Way of Water, if we were to keep that depending, right?
Mm-hmm.
To see that character grow, to see like his own personal conflict, things he's overcome, being all that, right? And then to see him die in the next movie. After we
would have also helped with the family dynamics if we actually got to see these characters grow up. Another good like template source for this show would be Tron Uprising.
I was going to mention it, but many people would know that one. So,
well, you've also mentioned it like 5 times, so I'm pretty sure anyone who watches this show regularly would know.
It's a good series, and honestly, it's a shame that it didn't.
Yeah, and not only do all of these ideas work well, but it also does something which Way of Water utterly failed to do, and the first Avatar utterly failed to do, which would be to give Avatar, James Cameron's version, a actual like impact on the culture and a cultural footprint, and people who would be willing to do in-depth dives on things like the lore and speculation and character development shit.
Right,
honestly, that's the thing.
I'm sorry. I just want. Okay, please finish your point, then I'll get mine.
Yeah, but that's the thing that's so utterly baffling about James Cameron's Avatar franchise is, despite the fact that that both movies have made like $2 billion at a time when making $2 billion was practically unheard of in the case of the first one, there is no or almost no footprint on the culture of anything of the Avatar franchise. There's no memes. There's no like character theories. There's no like there really aren't that. There may be lore channels out there somewhere, but they're not. But it's not a setting or a franchise that like lore channels devote themselves to, generally speaking.
So sorry.
And even from a like pragmatic like production standpoint, you know how Hollywood always tries to universalize any trend? Like when Twilight and Hunger Games were a thing, every movie had to be a YA quasi-romance thing. Obviously, when the MCU took off, it was everything had to have a cinematic universe or everything had to have superhero elements. It is surprising to me, and I realized this recently, and it kind of fucked with my head for a second. Despite the fact that James Cameron's first Avatar movie made almost $3 billion at a time when no one else had even made $1 billion, there are no Avatar ripoffs. There's nobody trying to recapture the success of Avatar. Nobody.
Hey, Don.
Yeah.
Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Sorry.
That's your
But
fault.
it is somewhat telling that Hollywood, of all people, the people who run every successful trend into the ground.
Sorry, I remembered. I remember what I was gonna
Okay.
say. Honestly, big inspiration I think would have been preferable for this series, this franchise, right?
Mhm.
Star Wars. Okay, hold on. Before you,
I think The Matrix
Can
would be a better analogy for this.
Let me finish, please.
Go ahead.
Okay. What I mean is, with like concerning like this idea of a hypothetical like animated series, right?
Mm.
Star Wars: The Clone Wars, or the Clone Wars, whatever you want to call them, whichever one, right? But something that fills in the gaps and adds layers to characters that you generally thought in the movies seemed kind of cardboard or static or not greatly written.
We know that this can work. We've already alluded to Tron doing it. We've already alluded to Dark Crystal doing it. We've already you just alluded to Star Wars doing it. This kind of thing can fill in the gaps where the movies fail.
But obviously what I meant with Star Wars is like the use of like other media that helps flesh out the world that you don't get to see as much with the story going on in the movies.
There aren't even... James Cameron has never even tried to write comics based on it.
Oh no, there are. Actually, a comic goes into Jake feeling the body dysmorphia. He transfers his consciousness to his avatar body.
Okay, why didn't that get a play at any point during the movie? Like, that's actually a really interesting concept, and it would have been ahead of its time for the time when that would have come out, because of course the whole trans thing. Which, like, god damn it, James, why are you focusing on everything except the things that actually give your universe some kind of substance?
I know he had a plan when he was younger to make this movie, but was waiting for the technology to develop. But I think if he had made this movie when he was starting out, when he was young and hungry, and you basically kind of, instead of focusing on it being a fully CGI movie, and tried to make it, with the limitations he had at the time, I honestly, genuinely think it would have looked pretty good and could have been written better.
Well, and here's another thing. I realize you had this idea like way back in like the 80s, and you've been trying to make it since then, James. But that doesn't mean you're restricted to just doing your rough draft. You can use that time not just to wait for the technology to catch up, but also, and more importantly, you should have been making multiple drafts of this story. You should have been figuring out, okay, what do I need to do to make this story... Like, okay, a perfect example, and yes, I'm tooting our own horn here, but we started out with a lot of really nebulous ideas for stuff like the Lionhearted universe. But instead of just doggedly insisting that our rough drafts are the only correct answer, we actually had weekly, like, brainstorming sessions to fucking see where the potential of the story could go. I think if James Cameron had spent that time he was waiting for the technology to catch up actually improving on the story, instead of doggedly insisting that his rough draft is the only correct answer, this would actually be a decent franchise. But because he essentially froze his creative impulse in that first idea phase, And now this is the result. A storyline that hardly anyone even understands, and even those that understand it are annoyed by it, and even those that aren't annoyed by it usually just don't feel anything, period.
So I'm also going to point this out. The inspirations he took from it, which I think the issue is obviously, and I think we agree. We have talked
Talking about the dating, it being dated thing again.
No, well, maybe, but the influences that he's pulled from, obviously, I think the issue is he's made it very binary in that. Now, don't get me wrong, like, because Na'vi obviously they are Native American coded in some form or fashion, in some forms.
Yeah, they're blue alien Indians. Let's not beat around the bush.
Native or indigenous. Like, I feel like the Indian thing is kind of because Christopher Columbus is a dumbass who thought he sailed to India.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation.
Regardless,
But-
sorry. Regardless of that, that it wasn't as clear cut and dry, actually. It was very morally gray situations going on there. Like, there were tribes that aided the colonials, while others sided with like other factions and stuff.
And in many cases, the Indians gave as good as they got with regards to things.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking like, but the major issue is obviously like they have a very binary, like it's very black and white. Like the humans are the bad guys, and the Na'vi are these good people. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure that's like yes, there can be good and bad guys, but
And it goes back to what I was just talking about. The idea that he got this idea in the 80s and froze it and basically published his rough draft all these years later instead of letting the story. And that's one of the reasons it feels so dated, because he did take these ideas, these very myopic, very simplistic ideas of like Pocahontas style noble savage mythology and Captain Planet style environmentalism, and he froze them. He didn't let at any point the movement of the conversation or the movement of the culture dictate, okay, we're moving past Pocahontas style noble savage bullshit, and we're moving past Captain Planet style environmentalism, so I need to retool my story and make it more three-dimensional accordingly. No, he thought he struck gold that first time, and so he never changed anything. And that's why it feels so out of touch, because the very same noble savage bullshit that he got from places like Pocahontas, and the very same environmentalism he got from places like from Captain Planet, were dated in the 90s when he thought of them. And so come 2009, when he finally has the resources to make the story, they look even more dated. Never mind how dated they look in 2023 when he finally makes the sequel movie. So, yeah.
But yeah, I do like this hypothetical like series that like you could have set up so many things that would be later introduced in the movies. Like you could have had these Fire and Ash guys come in, and hell, you could even had that they were originally allies.
Yeah, there's a lot of like almost Shakespearean pathos you could have from getting from point A to point B there.
Right, but like you could seriously like you could actually delve into how each tribe works on a political level, hell, even the politics of the Na'vi, because that seems kind of interesting. Because believe it or not, because again, if they're supposed to be based off Native Americans or of that nature, they had their own forms of government in a way.
They did. The Illinois Confederacy was one of the earliest like democratic government systems that we are aware of.
Right. But like,
not to mention, you could set up the like quasi-spiritual intrigue of Awa and what their actual religious precepts pertain to.
you could actually construct the religion instead of having been brushed aside. Like, seriously, like.
Yeah, because at the moment, all it is Gaia from Captain Planet with an alien skin.
Hell, you could have actually had the like the Fire and Ash people start off not as them, but then you actually see the tragedy, like it actually occurs.
And yeah, the tragedy of them losing their forest or I don't remember what biome they had originally before the volcanic eruption. And was this just something outside of Awa's control, or was it something deliberate because of the nature of the balance kind of thing? Again, thinking in terms of like the various tribes from Dark Crystal Age of Resistance and what their respective niches all pertained to and what that means for the like metaphysics and lore of the thing.
Also, have fights, like mini battles or wars against the tribes, because it makes no sense that they all commune and get together, like get along.
Well, it's that's the problem. There is the original Noble Savage thing. People forget that different tribes are different tribes, and they just assume that all Native American people got along with everybody else, even though we all know what tribalism means, and therefore what different tribes probably do to each other. Yeah, it's, again, take the cartoonishly oversimplified Noble Savage shit from Pocahontas, add the cartoonishly oversimplified environmentalism from Captain Planet, and throw in a little bit of like Farscape style alien makeup, and we're there.
Right. Also, like another plot point, you could have certain, like maybe even the young Na'vi of other tribes searching like old abandoned, what was it, RDA?
Yeah.
Facilities and like getting the weapons, thinking that it could be an advantage.
Yeah. How do they react to human technology or human advancements? Because I'm sure you've seen the one Courage meme from 4chan, the spare us your pity alien spiel.
No, I don't go.
Based on that, it does, or based on the movies as they stand, it does seem like Awa is almost puppeteering the Na'vi instead of letting them be independent agents. And so far, we haven't really seen the way the Na'vi themselves react to human technology, because they simply just don't seem to have much of an interest in it, which is fine. You could set that up as a core feature of their culture, that they seek only the guidance of Awa or whatever. But the problem is, in the movies, so far as we have them, you don't have any indication that that's the thing. And given that we don't really have any more thorough philosophical justification for that, it does give the speech somebody wrote for Quaritch from 4chan seem like it has more truth in it, and that Awa is just a puppeteer playing with puppets, and that the Na'vi are essentially no more independent than the bees in a swarm. Which that shouldn't be the case. If you want the Na'vi to be the more emotionally and spiritually centered, like superiors, moral superiors of the humans, then you need to show where Awa's intervention stops and where the individual agencies of the various Na'vi and their tribes begin. because otherwise you basically do have a glorified hive mind, and that's a bad basis for quote unquote moral superiority, unless you want to be subversive like Rick and Morty did with the Unity. But I'm assuming that James Cameron actually wants there to be some philosophical depth here, because otherwise why would he have put all that work into the supplementary materials that still fucking need to make it to the screen at some point, James? You can't just presume that everybody automatically knows all this shit already, because your franchise just simply has no cultural footprint. Anyway, Blue Nana.
Yeah, give me 1 sec to get the tab. Also, there is a video game that's supposed to explore a little bit more of what the RDA was doing in other parts of Pandora. Could have incorporated that into the show as well.
And yeah, so
if I remember the plot, like I haven't looked into it obviously because I don't care, but what I remember seeing of it, basically some Na'vi children were taken in and basically made into child soldiers by the RDA.
And this would have made for a very interesting angle on Quaritch's Na'vi Marines in Way of Water. If only James had the thought to translate what's going on in his head to the rest of the audience, please, so we could follow what's going on. Or give it about what's going on, because I think that's the major hurdle at this point, is there just simply is nothing within the movies, and only the movies. There simply just is nothing on the bone for people to grab onto.
Hey, Dom.
Yeah, moving on. Blue Nana.
Burn them all.
I can't let that happen.
If your father and I do not return, you go as far and as fast as you can.
What does that always say?
Sully's never quits.
That's right. Sully's never quit.
I don't have anything.
Yeah, no comment. Blue Nana.
Give me a second. I hate headaches. Okay. Blue Nana.
Not test me.
The day has come.
See, this is another problem. There are trailer lines in this trailer, but we don't have any idea what it pertains to with the actual story. What are the characters actually fighting? I mean, obviously the Ash people are going to team up with Quaritch, and he's going to kind of be their chosen one in the same way that Jake was for the Forest Na'vi, and then the Sea Na'vi. And obviously there's going to be conflict there, but what else is everybody else doing? Obviously Spider is still dealing with his sins of the father, Luke to Vader kind of motif, and Sigourney Weaver's character is going to deal with the fact that she's basically A was Jesus, or A was Avatar, which, why in the fuck haven't they made that parallel yet? Given that they're setting up Sigourney Weaver's character to be the gender flipped version of Jesus Christ, but for Awa, thus making her an avatar of Awa, why haven't they made those parallels between the avatarization process of the humans that we see in Jake, in Quaritch, and in the Na'vi Marines, and Awa choosing to use Sigourney Weaver's character as her avatar, her vessel on Pandora, essentially, so to speak.
Girl's name is Carrie.
Yeah. Because that should be like the easiest like duh maneuver to make. Draw the parallel between the way the humans used Jake, Quaritch, and the Navi Marines, and the way Awa is choosing seemingly to use Kiri. But nada. We might get that in the movie, but it's not been anything more than vaguely alluded to in the trailers, and we still have no idea what the plot is or how any of those trailer lines relate to one another or the plot, which is bad considering this movie comes out in less than a month. So wah, wah, wah. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, there we go. I was looking for trailers, didn't really find much. I'd seen this and I thought it was interesting. This Project Hail Mary, official trailer 2. I thought Dawn might find it interesting a bit. I don't really have much to say. I don't want to give anything really away. So, shall we? It's a Ryan Gosling film. That's basically all I can say. Banana?
Banana.
That's an interesting tone it's set already. It's an astronaut meeting an alien. Okay, you know what? I'll look up the Google like synopsis of it just so everyone has context. I'm fairly certain a lot of people are confused right now, Dalton included. Okay, so it is based off a book. Okay, so the overview is science teacher Raylan Grace wakes up on a spaceship with no recollection of who he is or how he got there. As his memory slowly returns, he discovers he must solve the riddle behind the mysterious substance that's causing the sun to die out. As details of the mission unravel, he calls on his scientific training and sheer ingenuity, but he may not have to do it alone. Oh, holy shit! Phil Lord and Chris Miller are working on this, are the directors of this movie.
Well, fuck me sideways. So it's probably going to win an Oscar again.
Oh, because so it's based off a book and it's written by Don. Do you know this author, Andy Weir?
The name sounds vaguely familiar, but I can't place it.
He wrote the novel The Martian, which was adapted in 2015.
Okay, that's probably where I heard it from. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna see what other works he has. Okay, yeah, Project Chameleon. Okay. Oh, he has a Sherlock Holmes fan fiction called Moriarty.
Called what?
He has a Holmesian fan fiction called Moriarty.
Okay, I'm gonna have to read that now.
He also has a Doctor Who fan fiction called The Ramona Chronicles / The Zolans.
Good. I was hoping there would be more with Ramona eventually.
And he has written comics and graphic novels. Wow. Okay. Oh, he also did an audio. He did an audio book called James Moriarty, Consulting Criminal.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up now.
I can send you the Wikipedia if you want, because it has a list there.
I hope somebody has posted it on YouTube so I can listen to it.
You don't have Audible?
No, not anymore. I used to. I don't have it anymore.
Was it the Sandman?
Was
it the Sandman that made you stop using it?
No. We just ran out of money and couldn't afford to keep the membership going.
That's fair. All right. Okay, I'm actually looking a lot more forward to this movie. I thought it just looked like it was super interesting because it's a first encounter movie, but it doesn't seem like it's
Yeah, written by the guy who gave us The Martian, and directed by the folks that gave us the Spider-Verse movies and the Lego movie. So all you had to say.
Oh, and the 21 Jump Street movies.
This is also true. So yeah, I am fairly certain that this movie is going to be baller, because with those pedigrees, how in the fuck could it not be?
But I like this. I like this first. Like I like these. I'm gonna be honest. I hate the first encounter. The abundance of first encounter stories that go wrong.
Mm.
I like it where there's actually. I know I'm not like you and I've had this discussion before. I'm not like the biggest Star Trek fan, but I am an optimist to my core, much sometimes to my detriment. But I like it when it's shown that there is possibility of peace, that humans aren't dickbags all the time.
Yeah. We have our bad moments, but we also have really, really inspiring moments occasionally.
Yeah, it's like, so this is cool. Thank you. All right. Shall we?
Yep.
Banana.
Is that me?
I need you to come with us.
The sun is dying.
You have a doctorate in molecular biology.
Honestly, I could see Ryan Reynolds playing this character. Like, it's not that. It's just like, for one thing, it looks like he's like an elementary school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, a lot, given how the economy is these days, guys who have these kind of doctorates would be going to those kind of places now.
Mm-hmm.
Sad as that is.
Yep.
But it does kind of come across more as an everyman character as well. So, Ryan Gosling, does do. Well, to be fair, he's actually a fantastic actor. I like the guy a lot. He can do everyman. He's good at playing everyman.
Mm-hmm.
All right, shall we?
Banana.
And I ride a bike to work, and it's not for exercise.
If we do nothing, everything on this planet will go extinct, including us.
No sheep.
So the aliens communicating by creating like little stick figures. It's interesting.
I mean, Star Trek already handled this probably the best it can be handled in the episode of TNG entitled Darmok. So yeah,
I remember that. Yeah.
I'm not sure you'll ever be able to do interspecies communication better than Darmok. But it's very much the same sort of thing.
What I find interesting is that it's a carbon-based life form, right? But it looks like it's made out of complete stone, like a golem. Which fascinates me on the fact that you have a rock species that learned how to do interstellar travel. Well, space travel at the very least. Like how does that come about effectively, you know?
Wow, and then them looking at us would wonder, well, it's still a carbon-based life form, but so much of it is intermixed and interwoven with so many other materials. That's weird.
Yeah, you always forget that, like, comparing to other cultures, like in Alien. Like, I mean, to be fair, we found each other weird when we found like different civilizations and stuff. So
one of my favorite things I like to follow on YouTube or Facebook Shorts is the aliens confused by bizarre elements of human biology that aren't bizarre to us because we're so used to them thing.
Yeah, I've seen those on TikTok, but
The
I know.
the adrenaline is a controlled substance, and they just manufacture it internally. Thing. I fuck it. I love those
The-
fucking things.
Like the first one and the one I remember most is when the human basically domesticates what the rest of the alien crew, because there's only one human on an alien spaceship, right?
Mm.
Domesticates what is considered to the rest of them as like a dangerous wild beast. So like all other aliens.
Yeah,
But
there's a yeah. Go ahead,
basically,
sorry.
if not friend shaped, why not pet? I think is how the phrase goes.
Yeah. If not friend, why friend shaped is the line.
Yeah.
There's a similar one where there's this like canine species, this like giant dog species, and they find they don't understand why humans are so nice to them until they realize that humans are protective of dogs in the same way, and then it gets really creepy. I'll have to see if I could find that one again and
Yeah,
send it to you.
that would be creepy. I have seen another one, but I will save that. I don't really feel comfortable
I
saying that.
mean, the existence of furries basically does mean that if we ever meet like an anthropomorphic animal species, we're going to be so fucked, possibly literally there.
There is like there's another short. I'll talk to you. I'll tell you about it after stream because I don't feel like it's appropriate to say on stream.
Mm.
Anyway, I do love the tone that's being set here, though.
Mm.
Dire, but somewhat. What's the word I'm thinking of? Like, it's not optimistic, but wondrous. I guess
Mm.
that's the way I can say it. You know,
Yeah,
because of the sun dying. That's the tension of like.
yeah. Existential, I think, is the right word.
But the way they're interacting, like the character here and the alien, it seems hopeful. You know.
Mm. Unless
Almost-
they're doing a disturb man twist, but I wouldn't expect that from the guy who gave us The Martian. The guy that gave us The Martian tends to be very optimistic about futures and communications and shit.
I
But
wonder if it takes place in the same universe as The Martian. Then
I hope so, just because I think that would be the most interesting of all worlds there. But we shall
All
see.
right. Shall we?
Banana.
I'm Grace. I'm gonna call you Rocky. So I met an alien. He's a genius engineer, and if I
Okay, so you got a molecular biologist and a engineer who are trying to figure out why their sons are dying.
I am not surprised that as a massive fan of The Martian, I am not surprised that his main characters are once again geeks with hyper specialized fields of study.
Right. Okay, so we saw the alien ship here in this shot. It looks crystalline, which I guess does make sense.
Yeah. If their biology is crystalline, it follows that a lot of their technology would probably be.
It also weird thing is it doesn't look as like advanced either. I mean, it looks mechanical, but obviously, like I said, like very crystalline, very.
Well, but it's also alien technology, so we might not be able to tell how advanced it is.
Well, again, yeah, like I mean, think about it with like their professions, effectively, right?
Mm.
They're both hyper confident. If that, if we're going off like their job descriptions.
Yeah.
So they would. Well, okay. Granted, it does seem like I don't know if Rylan, the human, right? Because I don't know if he got training to work on this ship or not. Because it seems like it's only him. He doesn't have a crew or anything. So, which, God, that seems terrifying.
Yep.
Why would you send a single man crew for this?
That is the question. I presume there's probably an answer.
There's no way they're sending them to die, because they would only make sense if they sent more people, like a bunch of people.
Mm.
And it looks like a big enough ship, like obviously comparative to scale, because honestly, they could be the rock creature, the aliens could be bigger than humans, hence why their ship has to be bigger.
I mean, that makes sense, yes.
But obviously, it's like the ship for Raylan or whatever. It's big, obviously, because like spaceships are big or made to be big.
Mm-hmm.
You have one guy working it. I don't know. That just feels weird to me. That's a weird thing to do.
Then again, if The Martian is anything to go by, the author of The Martian likes his isolated, hyper-competent protagonists.
Fair enough. I'm just saying, like, for a mission to find out why the sun is dying, it feels like you should have a very...
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying it might be one of those, this is one of the author's favorite motif type things.
Fair enough. But I like the design of the alien ship's interior, too. Like, again, it's very crystalline, which makes sense. Like, even the airlock looks like crystal.
Yeah. For some reason, all I can think of is Chromostone from Ben 10 at the moment, honestly.
I feel like... I can't remember their actual names, but I feel like that would be the best species for humanity to meet first.
I think they're called Crystallivores or Crystallians.
Hold on.
Or Chrysellians, something along those lines.
Petrosapien.
No, that's Diamond Head. That's not Chromostone.
Well, no, Diamond Head is like a is basically like a Jesus of their people.
You've got it backwards. Chromostone is like the deity to the Petrosapiens.
That's what I said.
No, you said Diamond Head. You got it, like I say, you got it backwards.
I meant chromostome.
I know, but that's why I corrected you. Because I knew what you meant, but you had it backwards. Anyway, moving along.
I've honestly lost count of all the times I'm going to slap you.
I know. I believe we're up to somewhere in the 10,000 range at this point.
No, I'd say closer to 5,000.
Said the guy who lost track as compared to the guy who keeps count.
There's no way I've threatened to slap you over 10,000 times. Not that.
No, not in separate threats, but you've threatened multiple slaps per threat a lot of the time, is the thing. So keeping track of the individual slaps, yes, we're close to 10,000.
Yeah, I still think that's too high. There's no way I did that.
It's not. You can go back and check the footage if you need confirmation. Although that doesn't help with all the ones that took place while we were brainstorming and shit. But yes, you can at the very least go back and check all the recorded ones.
Anyway.
Banana.
Yeah.
And if I can't understand what he's saying, he puts on a little puppet show for me and my tiny brain. And you know what? I don't mind it. His planet's dying too. We're here for the same reason. Grace Rocky save stars.
I'm actually invested in this.
Again, I am not surprised that this is awesome because it's from the creative mind behind The Martian and from the directors of the Spider-Verse movies, the Lego movies, and the 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street movies. the Jump Street movies, I guess is a better way of putting it. Yeah, there was very little way this wasn't going to be badass. The Martian is actually one of my favorite, like, realistic future sci-fi movies.
I'm not gonna lie, that kind of surprised me. Well, no, you're usually into like magic and stuff, and like sci-fi. I get, like Star Trek, I get, but I don't know. It's just like I just never picked
Yeah,
it.
but the thing is, The Martian is supposed to be set, I think, in like 2070 or something. So if this guy did a movie that was like 1,000 years in the future, yes, I would be more than happy to see humanity realizing that magic is a thing. But in terms of a thing I would like to see or could expect to see in my lifetime, the only two movies recently that have like managed a realistic, plausible, positive future are Her and The Martian. Because that's the problem. Most of the realistic near future sci-fi shit is dystopian and apocalyptic. Not without reason, mind you, but when I'm looking for a positive potential near future, the only two that spring to mind off the top of my head are Her and The Martian. And the interesting thing is I could see both of those existing in the same universe, to be honest.
Yeah. Anyway.
Banana.
Well, also, it showed that they actually do start to communicate via, like, basically text-to-speech, I think.
Which makes sense if you need to, solve a language barrier issue and you don't want to pull the universal translator card.
Yeah. Banana?
Yeah. Oh.
Am I expendable? It's almost like you don't care if I die. Hold on, you have to talk about it?
The consensus here is that it would be preferable if you did not die.
The fact
Okay,
that
so
they had-
yet another isolated protagonist who's facing death. I didn't expect there to be quite so many parallels between this and The Martian, but damn.
To be fair,
I mean, if you have a plot that works, by all means use it. I'm just saying there are a lot of parallels here. We're up to like Stephen King main levels of self-referential memery here.
it just does feel, Again, I really didn't think we were going to like this as much as we do.
I think we should have known as soon as we figured out who was behind it, because guy who created The Martian is the source material, and Phil Lord and Chris Miller are in charge of adapting it. It was probably going to always be awesome. But now I'm curious what studio is behind this and when it comes the fuck out.
It doesn't come out too. Hold on, I'm looking that up. It's Amazon MG is the studio.
Well, I hope that Amazon is smart enough to let Phil Lord and Chris Miller do that they do.
Okay, March 20th, 2026.
Ah.
All right, shall we?
Banana.
Thanks, guys.
You're a great scientist, Dr. Grace. And a great human being. The world is counting on you.
I guess optimistic near future sci-fi is just this guy's thing. He's like a modern day Isaac Asimov.
I thought his stuff was like a lot more dour.
No. Isaac Asimov is the poster child for optimistic sci-fi.
Okay, maybe it's just because all the annotations I've seen of his stuff go in like more dour fucking
They
route.
do not adapt him well. They do not adapt him well at all.
Okay, I learn something new every
Like
day.
iRobot basically borrowed more from Terminator than it did the actual source material of iRobot. It's a good movie on its own merits. I'm not decrying it or anything, but they did not bother adapting the actual source material there at all.
All right, shall we?
Banana.
It's now or never.
Okay, so we saw Rocky. Hold on. Give us a quick shot of him. Okay, multi-armed. Looks like a singular body. Doesn't look like he has any eyes or it doesn't even look like he has a face. It's interesting. Okay, now I'm curious about his biology. Kind of looks like a spider.
Well, I mean, he is called Rocky, but bump ching.
How does that correlate to looking like a spider?
What?
He looks like a spider.
Oh, you said spider. I thought you said he looked like a fighter, and I was like, okay, that explains the joke that didn't land.
But yeah, it looks like he just has a singular body and then like 4 limbs, not bipedal. It looks quadrupedal.
So closer to like a octopus or a spider than he is a human. Then. Which I mean, most animals have like 6-limb bilateral symmetry, so I guess 8 limbs is not implausible.
No, I think he has 4. It just makes me curious on like how he sees and hears.
I assume because both our main characters are like highly specialized scientists in this vein. Again, if The Martian is anything to go by, I imagine we will get quite a lot of exploration of how their physiology and things work. Especially given all the parallels to The Martian that I'm seeing. And again, I'm not giving the author shit for that. Like, if you have a niche that works for you, by all means excel at that niche.
To be fair, we need a lot of optimism these days. So
we do. And non-dystopian near future sci-fi, if you please.
All right, shall we?
Banana.
I'm not gonna lie, this feels kind of like what Interstellar kind of should have been.
Yeah, that's a better analogy would probably be Arrival, because that was also based on like First Contact, alien.
I was gonna bring up Arrival,
alien communication motifs there.
I mean, I was gonna bring up Arrival, but I didn't really feel like it was. I didn't really feel like it was. It worked.
I think it fits better than Interstellar, though, because the Interstellar had the whole like cosmic like hypercube shit at the end. Because Christopher Nolan wanted to rip off 2001: A Space Odyssey. I doubt that this movie will have cosmic deification at the end.
Anyway.
It'd be quite a surprise if they did have it. And I'm not saying it wouldn't be welcome. I'm just saying it seems like very plausible near future sci-fi. Seems to be this guy's stock and trade.
Anyway, shall we?
Banana.
Call it fist bump, by the way. Fist my bum. No.
I mean, that would happen given the lexicon difference.
Yeah.
What that also implies that he can somewhat understand the language. Then
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting.
I assume that ins and outs of hows and whys are gonna be crucial here, because again, given how many parallels I've already spotted between this and The Martian, which is by the same dude, it seems like this is just the story he keeps liking to tell. And again, not busting his balls for that. If you have a thing that works and you're the best at that thing, do that thing to your heart's content.
I mean, I don't disagree. I just, for me, I always like try to get out of my comfort zone in terms of writing stories.
Yeah, I'm not saying that a little stretching wouldn't be appreciated. It's just a lot of people decry typecasting for reasons of something originality, and I'm like, okay, but if someone is the best at doing a particular thing and there's enough mileage within that particular setup it'd be like somebody bitching at Guillermo del Toro because every story he tells has a sympathetic monster in it. Like that is what Guillermo del Toro do. I don't know why you would be surprised by that. Some things are just, some ideas are just suited to certain creatives and vice versa. So like, but then again, I am definitely more pro typecasting than I think a lot of people, because my way of thinking is just figure out what you're the best at and keep pushing yourself to be even better at that thing.
I'll be fair, Don, you can't really do much variety of anything.
This is also true, but that is because I know who and what I am, and have chosen to try and strive to be the best version thereof.
I get that. I'm just
Not always successfully, mind you, but I do. I know what I know who and what I am and what I'm supposed to be, and I am working on perfecting that thing that I am.
all right. Shall we?
Banana.
Oh, it's fist bump. It's not the same.
Yeah, March 20th, 2026. I feel like we're gonna have to review that.
We will.
All right, give me a sec. Last one. Yeah, we're going through this kind of quick.
Well, trailers are always quicker than articles. Frankly, we probably spent the most time trying to fix James Cameron's mess for him.
It's really not that hard.
Although no, we did quite a lot of spackling for Badlands as well, trying to think of better ways to accomplish that thing. So most of this episode is a little taste of the brainstorming we do every week, folks. And yes, next week we will be covering Has Been, because I press gang to brainstormer into it.
I probably won't have much to say, but let Dalton rant.
Because I am just that kind of theater gay. Lol.
Sorry, I'm starting to get a little. To be fair, the alarm clock I bought, I don't know how to turn it off for the weekends. So I'm waking up at 4:30 in the morning.
Fuck.
I'm also gonna have to work. They changed my hours, so I'm gonna have to wake up even earlier because now I have to be at my job and ready to work at 6 instead of 6:30.
Fuck.
But, yeah, at least I get 2 weeks vacation starting Tuesday.
That's fun. Just in time for your birthday and Thanksgiving, too.
The second week, I'm gonna get my teeth pulled, and I'm gonna be fucked up the whole week. So
Well, at least you have time off and you don't have to, like, blow, like, personal days or sick days or whatever the fuck.
I don't think we get 6 days. I just tell them like, hey, I can't make it for this whole week, and they just make sure I'm.
But the point being, your employers won't hold it against you because they're already going to be off the grid for a bit.
Yeah,
which is
Well,
nice.
that second week, that's the you come back, but I had to take it off, obviously. Yep, and the fuck. Oh, yeah. The reason why I have to go to work earlier is because I don't get paid for my break.
Mhm.
And so I have to, in order to get paid for the standard 8 hours, I have to go in earlier.
Mhm.
Not gonna lie, part of me has wanted to quit this job a lot.
Uh-huh.
All right. Anyway, so I had seen this and I thought it was worth. It's from Leica Studios. It's like their next movie coming out called Wildwood. It's their first look. I thought
Leica Studios is always a win, so I'm predicting the same here. I
Sorry.
wonder what would happen if Phil Lord and Chris Miller made a Leica movie. Other than the world potentially exploding from the sheer dumbfounding awesomeness thereof.
Shall we?
Yep. Banana.
You're 10 years old. You are 10 years older than this movie studio.
Fuck you very much. Fuck you very much.
Not my type.
Did I ask for your permission? I don't need help feeling old, dude.
I'm sorry. It's just like, to be fair, I was actually kind of surprised. I thought they were a little older.
Yeah, me too, but I know Coraline was their first go at it. And I know Paranorman was their second, and I remember when those two came out. I think just because they have a visual style similar to Aardman, I guess my brain kind of assumed that they were connected somehow. Which, by the way, if they aren't, like, god damn it, Aardman Animation and Leica should collaborate on shit. It would be good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Shall we?
Banana.
No.
Okay, you are selling me. You are speaking a language in which I am very, very fluent, sir. Urban fantasies are always a win. Banana.
Wilderness.
Okay, I'm not. It's fucking seeing that animation. It really makes you think that there's like I don't. It looks just pure CGI, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm aware that they use some CGI to enhance and stuff. That's fine.
Yeah, but this is all being done by hand in stop motion. It makes you think about just how much everyone else is slacking that this can exist.
I know. To be fair, Leica doesn't release like constantly like other studios, but
yeah, because it takes for freaking ever to do stop motion animation, and they would rather put in effort than cheat.
Yeah. God, I wish Travis Knight got more work.
Yeah. Is he behind this?
Hold on, let me check. But what I'm saying is, like, yeah, I know he transferred from Leica to Bumblebee, and we haven't really seen him do a lot since.
That would explain why he's so good at it. Because if he cut his teeth on Leica Studios, no wonder
we see-
Bumblebee is the best Transformers movie ever to be released in theaters.
Dude, he's CEO of Leica.
Fuck me sideways.
Okay. What movie did you say?
I don't remember. Fuck. But who is behind Wildwood then? Is the question.
Yeah. Okay. No. Yeah. I didn't. I didn't see him doing Wildwood. Okay. No. Never mind. He was director. Sorry.
Well, fuck me sideways yet again.
This is concept art, by the way, that we're seeing. This still right here. I think. Unless.
It
No, I
literally
think
looks better than most movies do in their final fucking edits.
to be fair, that's concept art overall for modern
Well,
movies.
yeah, but here it's because they're putting so much effort into the concept art rather than other movies fucking living down their concept art rather than rising above their concept art. Which, given that Leica is one of the, few remaining studios that can one-up their concept art, what in the fuck is the final draft gonna look like?
We've seen them show some bits of it, which looks pretty good.
Mhm.
But God, this is really good. Like, this really feels like it should be framed in a museum.
You know what? Guillermo del Toro needs to work with Leica. I don't know on what, I don't care on what, but Guillermo del Toro and Leica Studios need to get together and make beautiful babies together. There.
But I also respect.
I heard recently that Guillermo del Toro wants to do now that he's done with Frankenstein, he wants to do a remake of Something Wicked This Way Comes. That would be a really good project to do with Leica Studios if they could swing it. Obviously, they're going to be focused on Wildwood for the foreseeable future, but assuming Guillermo del Toro was willing to wait, doing a adaptation of Something Wicked This Way Comes in stop motion with Leica Studios, directed by Guillermo del Toro, would be just one of the most brain-crappingly beautiful things ever in the history of humanity.
What was it? Fine, I was going to say something. You know what? I actually would like to see a Frankenstein movie in stop motion.
I mean, that would be interesting, but we're not gonna get a better Frankenstein than Guillermo del Toro's version for the foreseeable future, my dude.
No, I'm just saying, like, that would be really cool and interesting to me.
It would be in maybe another 20 years or so.
I mean, the closest we got was I don't know if you remember this from Adult Swim, Mary Shelley's Frankenhole.
I don't remember it, no.
It was pretty funny.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was kind of like paper stop motion, like paper animate, like paper dolls kind of thing. It was. I can look at some clips for you and send them to you if you want. 'Cause I don't think I'm doing a proper explanation of it. Anyway.
Banana.
The fact that they also release videos like this instead of just like simple trailers is really telling how much they take pride in their craft.
They should. They're 4 for 4 on creating fucking classics. Guys, like, Leica Studios has yet to produce a single bad movie.
God. Sorry. I don't know why I'm so fucking dumb.
I actually have all 4 of their of their movies in a box set.
Caroline, Paranorman, Box Trolls, Kubo and the
Two
was it
strings.
Two strings.
Yes. Yeah, that's the 4 that we've seen so far, and this will be number 5.
I think they've done a few other ones, but they never really reached critical acclaim.
I haven't heard anything about them producing anything else.
Hold on.
This is the first new one we've gotten since Kubo, to the best of my recollection. Unless they're doing short films.
Might have been. Also, apparently they also worked on Corpse Bride.
Well, yeah. Because, like, Henry Selick basically pitched them Coraline, and that was their first go around.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Having actually read the short story of Coraline, though, I do wish we had gotten a little bit more of Coraline. The version we have is fine. It's just there are little touches from the short story or the novella that I would prefer to see adapted. Banana. That is a level of
Dedication.
That is a level of dedication that I just can't quite process. Holy fuck. I really hope this pays off for them. I'm sure it will, because Leica is Leica, but still.
So, yeah, to be fair, I've always liked stop motion. Like, ever since I was growing up. I
Ditto.
Yeah.
Stop motion is one of my favorite things.
It's weird, because you really hate animation.
I don't hate animation. I refuse to let live action movies slack.
Fair. Okay, that's fair. You're completely fair on that. I'm sorry. It's just like the usual joke here. It's like one of the running jokes here.
So I know you and DT bust my balls because I want live action stuff to catch up to animation rather than just being happy with substituting in animation.
Fair enough. But okay, so when I was in high school working in a film class, I actually tried to do a stop motion film. It's insane.
How did it go?
I never finished it.
Somehow I am not surprised.
Well, it's just really fucking pain. I didn't have.
Yeah, I know. Stop motion is stop motion. That's why I'm not surprised.
That's just like the thing is also like it's such a. To be fair, I think it was like a side project, so it was like I didn't. It wasn't necessary.
Well, and I mean, this is why Leica takes for freaking ever, because like Coraline was 2009, I think. No, 2006.
Hold on, let me check. Okay, hold on. Okay, yeah, Coraline was 2009. You're thinking of Corpse Bride, which came out in 2005.
Okay, so Coraline was 2009. Paranorman was 2012, 13?
Yeah. No, 2012.
Okay. Then Kubo was 2015, I think.
16.
Okay. Kubo was 2016, and this will be coming out presumably in a year or two.
I don't know if you saw that movie, Missing Link. It's with like Bigfoot.
Yes, the Aardman one.
Oh, okay. It's listed under Leica as well. So I just.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I stand corrected. Maybe Aardman and Leica have crossed over before. Because I could have sworn Missing Link was Aardman.
Hold on.
That was the one with Bigfoot playing Eton football, otherwise known as soccer to us Yanks.
Right. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for these guys because it does take a lot of time. It takes a lot of dedication, a lot of experience, a lot of like just.
And again,
patience.
It's not even that every single movie they've made has been good. Every single movie they've made has been a fucking classic in the making. Like,
Yeah. Um,
Again, they're 4 for 4, or I guess in this, if the Aardman Leica crossover happened before I thought it did, it might be 5 for 5, and this might be 6. So like, holy fuck! But banana.
and amazing.
Yeah, somehow we managed to, like, we just got done sucking off Phil Lord, Chris Miller, and the author of The Martian,
Anywhere.
but we're we are we had 2 positive things this week. Good for us.
I am genuinely surprised.
Yeah, if anyone is capable of one-upping Phil Lord and Chris Miller, it would be this team here. Although, speaking of creatives that I really would like to see tapped to do a Leica project, imagine what they could do with Leica's production design and direction with Phil Lord and Chris Miller's sensibilities.
Mm-hmm.
I think my brain would bleed. It would be so beautiful.
All right.
Banana.
Team of puppet fabricators, animators.
That looks photorealistic.
It does.
Oh, okay, no, actually, let me correct myself. It looks like a stylized photorealism.
Yeah. It's what photorealism could be if filmmakers remembered that aesthetics are a thing.
Yeah. God damn, man, they got fog, the lighting, the clouds, all of it. It's just like, that is beautiful.
I'm assuming we're not going to see this until like 2027 or 2028, but I don't fucking care. It'll be worth the wait.
Well, I'm sure there'll be something. Hold on, let me look up.
I realized just then I rhymed without meaning to. Damn.
Okay, hold on. Okay, it's supposed to. They just have initial release 2026.
I mean, on the one hand, I'm surprised it's that soon, but on the other, it has been like 10 years since their last major release.
Hard at work, I suppose.
Which just goes to prove how much innovation they probably had to do to make this work.
Well, okay, I guess if you count Missing Link, that was 2019, so...
That's still about to be 7 years. It's a long production time for a movie, especially in today's day and age when, you know, a year and a half basically production time is people get, which to be fair is Hollywood being stupid and lazy, and I wish they would knock it the fuck off so we could actually get decent aesthetics back in media, but that's neither here nor there.
Moving on.
Yep. Banana. In the immortal words of Mr. Philip J. Fry, shut up and take my money.
Yep. I just gotta convince someone to go see a animated movie.
Your uncle being a stickler again, I assume?
Well, not so much a stickler. It's just like, let's be fair. This is, in all technical sense, a kid's movie.
Fair. But then again, so was Kubo, so was Paranorman.
We didn't watch those.
Well, then he's just going to have to catch up with the rest of us.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Well, no, I've watched them. I just never went to the theaters and watched them. That's back. I was gonna say something. Fuck. Oh yeah, I'm very excited for this. More than likely, yeah, we're probably gonna review this movie, aren't we?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. We got about 12 seconds left, so.
Banana. And by the way, James, if you ever want to know why I'm so hard on you, this shit right here is how you innovate artistically and technologically and still fucking tell a story that's worth telling in an aesthetic that's worth looking at.
So apparently Wildwood is also based off like I believe it's a short story.
Okay.
Let me recheck that real quick.
But yeah, Leica manages to technologically innovate while still creating a piece of art that will stand the test of generations. You, James, have all the technology and all the money at your disposal anyone could ever conceivably want, and all you can manage to draw with all those paints is a photorealistic bowl of fruit.
Okay. Okay, so it is. Okay, so oh wow. So I'm looking at the wiki, right? So take this with a grain of salt for information, right?
Hmm.
Development of this movie began in September 2011, weeks after the release of the novel.
So they've been working on this since
16
2011,
Yeah.
which means that Kubo and the Two Strings and Box Troll were glorified side projects.
Okay.
That kind of fucks with my head.
Okay, so yeah, Wildwood is a 2011 children's fantasy novel by Decemberist Colin Malloy, illustrated by his wife Carson Ellis. A 541-page novel. No, 541-page novel inspired by classic fantasy novels and folktales, is a story of two seventh graders who are drawn into a hidden magical forest while trying to rescue a baby kidnapped by crows.
Just shut up and take all of the money that I will make for the next year, goddammit.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well,
Fuck me.
I did not expect to end on like a really positive note here.
And again, James, if you want to know why I'm so hard on you, shit like this exists, and you're still creaming your pants over the lesser Avatar.
Okay. I guess with that, folks, I want to say bye, adios, aloha, avidazai, sayonara, peace, cheers, and
Shalom, fuck off, and Godspeed Leica Studios, and Godspeed Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
bye, guys.
And fuck James Cameron.